In this episode, the Wolf of Car Street, Mustangs eat dinner, and Michael gives a thumbs up. Welcome to episode 48 of the We Are Auto Show. How are you, Derek?
I'm doing fantastic, buddy. Can you, I don't know if you saw it this weekend, but it was the Rolex 24 weekend. Or not the Rolex, the Roar before the 24. Can you give me a quick TLDR on what happened at the Roar?
A what?
A TLDR?
A what? I'm not following.
You don't know what TLDR
What is a
means?
TLDR?
Oh, it's too long, didn't read.
Is that really what it means?
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Because every time I'm online and I see someone type out TLDR, I'm always like, I don't even know what they're referring to. So I'm just going to scroll past it.
You just didn't want to learn? You just didn't want to Google it?
I don't know. I honestly, I almost thought it was something dirty.
There are acronyms out there. Everybody's been in that situation where someone uses an acronym and you're like, I'm just going to go with the conversation. Don't know what that means, but I'm just going to roll with it. Sometimes you pull it off, but in the back of your head, you're thinking, did I just mess that up? I don't know.
That's every single time I encounter someone that says TLDR online. I just forego that entire sentence, and then I just move to the next sentence and disregard everything in that sentence that had TL. So it stands for too long didn't read.
Yes. It's like I want a short synopsis of what happened.
Oh, so give me the high points, right?
Yes.
Give me a rundown.
Yes.
Okay.
I want the Cliff Notes.
I have now learned something.
You
the
have.
TLDR. Give me a TLDR on your day.
It's been good.
Okay, good. Fair enough.
It has been.
So we're actually recording a little bit early this week because I am fortunately and unfortunately going on vacation. So I am super stoked to be heading out west for vacation with some family. But that does mean that unfortunately I will be missing the Rolex 24. So 50% of We Are Auto will be there in the form of Derek Schmidt.
I will be. I will be there, and if anybody else is there, hit us up on social media. We have a campsite outside the track, and we have plenty of beer if you want to come hang out.
I wish I could be there if I could. I would love to be there and drinking all the beers and save none for everyone else. But that is good news for all of you friends and fans and people that can drink the beer that I won't be drinking there. So shall I get into some news?
We should.
All right, so going to start with some news with some big internal combustion engine V8s. My
Seems
favorite.
to be right up your alley.
My favorite, yes. So how about a Cadillac Escalade?
What? Yeah, okay.
How about a Cadillac Escalade?
Tell me more.
So the 2023 Cadillac Escalade is getting a V. You know, like the CTS-V, the CT5V Blackwing, like the V, like the Cadillac V.
The performance.
Not like the vagina, but the actual V.
The performance model, okay.
Yeah. They're Ving the Escalade. Can you think of any more ridiculous vehicle to put the extra performance V on?
No, but I'm kind of hyped about it.
That's kind of where I'm at. It's like, this is the stupidest thing in the world, but I kind of love it.
Yeah.
Like, how? Yes.
Dumb and good.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah.
And fantastic all at the same time. So let me give you a synopsis. This new Cadillac Escalade V is going to be the first SUV that has ever worn the V badge. So, last week, I think maybe early this week, last week, I don't remember what it was, but Cadillac had teased a video with a soundtrack.
Oh, okay.
And it was deep and rumbling and just all of the good V8 noises. And everyone was like, is this an Escalade V? I kind of think this could be an Escalade V. And then like a day or two later, they posted out and they're like, yeah, the 2023 Escalade V is happening.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's going to be sick. It's going to be sick. There's no real expected or no real official numbers and anything yet, but let me give you some expected stuff. They're expecting to get a detuned version of the supercharged 6.2-liter LT4 V8 that does come in the current CT5V Blackwing that we were talking about. Okay. Right?
Yep.
I think we just heard a fighter jet overhead.
That was loud.
That was really cool. If we weren't recording this podcast, I'd be a giddy little kid and run outside and go look. But to get back to the Escalade V, so it's going to have this great big giant supercharged V8 in it. And that V8, when it is found in the CT5V Blackwing, it develops 668 horsepower with 659 pound-feet of torque. Yeah, baby.
600 horsepower?
Yeah,
In an
so
Escalade?
they're going to detune it from 668, which means it'll probably
Okay.
get 590 to 610 is my guess.
Okay.
A 600 horsepower Escalade.
All right.
Holy shit. Can you believe that?
No.
It's ridiculous.
But that'll be interesting.
You know what the standard Escalade has?
No.
420.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. But it needs 420 in a standard Escalade just to lug its gazillion pound body.
Yeah, like 0 to 60 is not going to be
I
fast.
actually, you know what? I actually need to figure out how much does an Escalade weigh?
A tank amount? Like, an M1 Abrams? About that much. Yeah. A lot.
Let's see. Oh, the Escalade, the 2022 Escalade weighs between 5,600 to 5,800 pounds.
A lot.
Not light. So it needs all of that power.
Yes.
But it's going to come with now pretty well 600 horsepower.
Okay. But it's going from 400 to 600?
Yeah.
Somewhere.
It's gonna
we
get-
suspect around
It's
there.
going to get spicy.
Okay.
I can dig
That
it.
will make a difference in that vehicle.
But yeah,
That'll make a significant difference.
it will make a very significant difference. Now, there's also some rumors that come with this teaser that they're also testing a long wheelbase version of the V, as in ESV. So the standard Escalade and then the long wheelbase version Escalade.
It'll be even longer? Even bigger?
Think of it this way. You know the school bus you may have ridden in elementary school?
Yes.
Put a supercharged V8 and a V badge on it, and goddamn it, you've got your Cadillac Escalade V. Boom.
And it still weighs more than the school bus I rode past.
You're probably right, with the kids in it.
Yeah.
So they're testing this long wheelbase version, which is going to be ridiculous. And I love it.
They're going bonkers.
I love to hate it.
Yeah.
I hate to love it. It's ridiculous. But this does make me a little sad. Because this does, Cadillac had at one point previously stated, and I'm going to pull a little quote here, that the CT4V and the CT5V Blackwings would be the final gas-powered V cars. Which means
They're going out at a bang.
does this mean the swan song of the Cadillac V would be an Escalade V? You can't end with an Escalade
No.
V. You can't do that.
But it is Cadillac. And, that's their bread and butter. Let's be real. Right?
You're not wrong, but
Well,
don't
why
make
not?
the swan song a V.
But
make
why
it a
not
road-going DPI.
No.
That'd be cool
It's
as hell.
Cadillac.
So is the DPI.
The person who buys a Cadillac is very much uninterested in the DPI that runs at the Rolex 24. I can guarantee you.
Give me a road-going Mustang sampling DPI, please.
No, that's just silly. No. So I think that it's kind of cool that their swan song is one of their best-selling vehicles, and they're kind of making it crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't imagine many grandmas are going to buy the V, but
You know who's gonna buy it?
who?
Wealthy moms.
Mob bosses.
Moms.
Yeah. Do you think they'll buy the V though?
Yeah.
It'll depend on the price.
Because they're going to walk into the showroom, and I'm going to sound like an asshole here, so stay with me.
Oh, boy,
Sorry,
here we
I'm going
go.
to lose some people. But they're going to walk into the showroom and go, what's the most expensive goddamn thing in here? And the salesmen go, may I introduce you to the Cadillac Escalade long wheelbase V? And they're going to say, I'll take two, one for me, one for my husband.
May I introduce you to the DPI, and they'll go, ew, get that out of here.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, this could be the last V that we get, the last ICE V.
I suspect it won't be. I suspect that they'll do. It'll be the new release of the V, maybe the last one. But you think they'll do another CTS-V?
Maybe as an EV.
I meant as an ICE vehicle.
Nah, I hope they do. I hope they do another CT5V.
And when we say ICE, for those acronyms they don't know, internal combustion engine. That's what ICE means.
Yes, I forgot some people are not as nerdy.
That's
as
the
we are.
TLDR on ICE.
That's the TLDR. What ICE means. That's what it means. And I just used TLDR correctly in a sentence. Yes, let's go.
This is getting derailed quick.
Oh man. All right. So can we move on?
We can.
Would you like the TLDR on a 2023 Toyota Sequoia?
I guess so.
So let's move on to the Sequoia, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
So this is just like the day of SUVs, it sounds like.
It is.
So the Toyota Sequoia has not had a new version in about 3 trillion years.
It is a very old looking vehicle, isn't it? Like we're looking at one right now, and Yeah, it's like from 2004, man.
That's, I think, the second generation. It had one after that generation.
Okay.
But it hasn't actually had a new generation since 2007.
But they're really prevalent. You see a lot of them.
That's because they're a tank.
And they're relatively cheap, I think, right? Really?
They're not cheap.
For a
They used to
Toyota
be.
SUV?
They used to be. Go another couple of pictures over. For those listening on audio, we're looking at slides. That gen is the TRD Pro second gen Toyota Sequoia, and that was probably every bit of like 50 or 60 grand.
What?
Yeah.
There was a Sequoia for 50, 60 grand?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's a Tundra in an SUV.
I see the Tundra in this photo that we're looking at, but
It's actually based on the Tundra.
I didn't know that they went for that much. Okay, what's like a bone stock Sequoia from the old model, like the 2000
I don't
model?
know.
They gotta be cheap, right?
30-ish.
Okay.
I think.
That's
I don't know.
Reasonable.
But
anyway.
Let me get on to the 23 Sequoia.
Yes.
So it's finally getting its makeover. It's the first makeover it's had since 2007. There's really not a whole lot of news in terms of like what the available engines and drivetrains are. They're actually set to do the official release on the 25th, and we're recording this early, so they'll have the official release before this probably comes out. But we've got the teaser spy shots of it, and we're all assuming that the new Sequoia is going to have pretty much the same power and drivetrain as the new Tundra. And I'm assuming it's probably going to look pretty similar to the Tundra, just with a trunk.
I wouldn't be opposed to that, though. It was already based on the Tundra.
Yeah, but have you seen the face of the new Tundra?
Yeah, we've debated that. It's,
and it has that droopy eye. It looks like a con man with a teardrop on his eye. Like, I've killed someone, so I hope the Tundra doesn't kill people. Is what I'm saying.
It could join the Tacoma. You never know.
Those fans of The Office, it's like the new Tundra is Prison Mike.
Yeah.
You don't know what I've done, man. So the new Sequoia is getting its makeover, like I said. The official launch is happening on the 25th, and there's really no real specs on anything yet. They're kind of estimating that it's probably going to have the same, fully independent rear suspension, all the good stuff that the Tundra didn't have for a while, but now is getting.
Do we know if it's an EV?
Not yet.
Ooh, interesting. That could roll the dice, but I suspect not.
They'll probably do a hybrid, just like they have in the Tundra. Do you know how the Tundra now has the hybrid V6 as well as the regular
Way more
V6?
likely.
I bet you they'll have that same powertrain where you get the hybrid V6, the hybrid turbo V6, the turbo hybrid V6, whatever the hell it's called.
Way more likely, because didn't they just come out with all their lineup of new EVs, which was like, here are some project cars that we're working on, and they'll be ready in 10 years.
Ugly as sin, too. Most of them just looked like a child designed something on Roblox and called it a car.
All right, so maybe next week we'll actually come out with the release photos.
Hopefully some specs.
And some specs, yes.
On the new Sequoia.
Let's move on. Do you have anything else that we should chat about in the news?
I do, and it's kind of a silly one.
Okay, sounds good.
So there was a new ranking that came out.
Oh, okay.
It was a great ranking. It wasn't about who has the roundest tires, but it is a ranking of the best states for owning and driving a car in the U.S.
Ooh, okay. Let's chat.
So this is going to be kind of interesting to think about. So there
live
was,
in Florida.
There was who is this? Motor Wallet Hub. We found this article on Motor One.
All right, wait. Before we do it, I want to guess.
Okay.
I want to guess top 3.
Okay. Top 3. Hit me.
First is California.
No.
Second is Florida.
No.
Third is it's to drive a car.
Own and drive. To own and drive.
Wait. You can owning a car in California is not fun
because the amount of times you go to smog and how much money it costs just to look at a car.
Like, Florida.
No.
Is it not the Southeast?
Some is. Some isn't.
Okay, never mind. I'm done guessing.
Yeah. So, first and foremost, do you want to know who is the worst?
Yeah, that's a good one to start with.
Hawaii.
Ooh. That would not have been my guess.
Me neither.
That's interesting.
They didn't give a particular reason on why each state was ranked the way it was ranked, but let me give you some metrics on how Wallet Hub, which is the people that conducted this survey, the metrics they used, and they didn't give you specifics on like what the numbers they pumped out were, but they were judging based upon traffic, fuel cost, access to mechanics, and safety are important factors of owning a car, as well as things like population for traffic and just getting around in like good roads. Like if you live in a state that has just crap roads, well, you're probably not going to be ranked highly, right? All that kind of stuff. Like just the overall car experience, owning and driving.
Was there enjoyment of driving?
I didn't see that on there, but I'm hoping they did put that in there.
Okay.
Right? So the worst is Hawaii.
Huh.
50 out of 50. You know which one the best was?
Okay, hit me with it.
You are not going to believe this. Iowa.
Excuse me? What?
Iowa is, according to this article, the best state for owning and driving a car.
Huh?
So for those of you that are listening outside of the U.S. and haven't even heard of what an Iowa is, Iowa is one of our fantastic states here in the United States of America. It's kind of in the middle of BFE, another acronym.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell her that one. But you can Google
Bum
that
effed Egypt. Yes. So Iowa is in the middle of absolutely nowhere. It has a whole lot of nothing with the exception of a few cities like Des Moines and a few other ones.
Yeah.
According to this article, Iowa is the one that you want.
Did corn farmers pay for this article or this study?
I don't know.
There's no way.
You know what? I guess you could probably get to it if none of the roads have potholes, if there's not that many people there to clog up the traffic, if you don't have, emissions to worry about, and if your like taxes and things like that are low for driving a vehicle, registration and all that. I guess I could come to that conclusion.
I don't understand. I'm pretty sure that Iowa is one of the flattest states in the U.S.
It's not one of the hilliest.
No. I'm sure there's a lot of very straight, long
It's
roads.
probably it's got good access to mechanics, good fuel cost, and good safety. Well, yeah, because you're not going to hit anything because there's freaking nothing
corn.
there.
There's corn.
Yes, you're going to hit corn. Yes. So Iowa is the best state to own and drive a car in the U.S., according to this Motor One article from Wallet Hub survey.
Yeah, I debate that one. Okay.
You want to know where Florida came?
I do.
So we live in Florida, and we do this podcast from Florida, known as the Sunshine State, where it's sunny. And today was a frigid 35 when I woke up, actually. I had to scrape some frost off my windshield this morning. But Florida, where would you guess Florida would be ranked?
I had it in the top 3. It was like California, Florida, maybe Texas, maybe the Carolinas.
It's mid-pack. It's 22.
I don't understand this.
I can somewhat see it just based upon the amount of traffic we have here now.
I guess I'm taking the wrong approach to this because I think
You're looking for spirited driving roads.
Yes.
I am too. But the top 5 gets a little more into that. Okay. But for now, Florida is 22nd, and Iowa is the best state to own a car, and Hawaii is the worst.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. So let me give you the top 5. You ready?
Yes.
Okay, so we already talked about Iowa being number 1. Let me bring it down to number 5. Okay. So the 5th best state to own and drive a car is, I believe, well, you know what? I want to make sure I've got these in the correct order. But I believe it is Texas.
Isn't Texas the same? Not quite the same
Yes,
as Iowa.
Texas is 5th. As a matter of fact, no, because Texas has more hills.
Really?
Texas does have some decent driving roads. Yes.
Okay.
So Texas, I get Texas as the 5th. Then the 4th would be, this one makes a hell of a lot more sense. North Carolina.
Agreed.
You got the Smoky Mountains. You can rip up and down Tail of the Dragon, Cherry Hole Skyway. You can go on a nice long adventure. You've got beaches. You've got everything. I get North Carolina as the number 4.
Yes.
The number 3 is another strange one. Kansas.
It's funded by farmers. I'm telling you, it has to be funded by farmers.
FarmersOnly.com. If you're looking for love. So, you ready for the number 2?
Yeah, it has to be a Midwest state with farmers.
You know, you're not wrong.
Oh my God.
It's Oklahoma. So, your top 3 are Iowa, Oklahoma, and Kansas, according to this article.
There's nothing to do in any of those states.
That might be why it's good to drive.
Even driving, there's nothing to do in those
You just go
states.
straight forever.
Yes.
And they have a 90-degree turn to go straight on another road.
Yes. It's just point A to point B in a straight line as fast as you can. I guess you can haul butt. You can see the cop from 10 miles away, but...
California was ranked as 47.
What?
Colorado was ranked as number 44, which I can understand because I lived in Colorado for a year, and just to register your car is an asinine amount of money.
Oh, really?
It's freaking ridiculous. It is stupid. People were paying, I don't know, like $5,000 to register a supercar.
What?
Yeah. Not like, oh, $500. That's expensive. No, like thousands of dollars.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a very interesting state where Florida comes 22nd when we don't have to deal with winter.
Yeah.
And we have racetracks.
This article's weird.
It is.
But I'm a fan of it.
It's a fun article to think about. I want to meet the people that conducted the survey.
You can drive your Corvette right through all of those states, top down, no problem.
I have something funny to say.
Okay.
You know, a long time ago, maybe probably 6 or so months ago, we had talked, and I told you that a Corvette owner moved into my apartments. Finally got to chat with him.
Oh, baby.
You know what he used to have?
A Corvette.
Yep. And a Pontiac GTO.
Fitting. Fitting. Was he wearing a Corvette hat?
It was too chilly, so no.
Okay.
But
does he own a Corvette hat?
I'm sure plural.
All right.
And Corvette hats.
Yeah, we've been down this rabbit hole many times.
Yes.
We've dressed up in this rabbit hole before.
We actually have gone in theme. But shall we move on from the weirdest list of best and worst states to own and drive a car to some exciting racing that's happening?
You gonna give me the TLDR finally that I asked?
Yes. You ready for the too long didn't read?
Let's go.
All right. So the too long didn't read of this past weekend's Roar before the Rolex 24. I'm so peeved that I work weekends and I don't get to go to the Roar and to the Rolex. But the Roar before the Rolex 24 is for real race enthusiasts. You and I would probably agree that this is almost more fun to go to than the Rolex itself.
Yeah, I would debate that this is actually more enjoyable to go to.
If you're a real race enthusiast, because you start to see strategy, you start to understand how the teams are operating, how the engineers work on things, what they're looking for, what they're not looking for, and you get a lot more access than you do at the Rolex, where you can kind of really, you can actually like get into the, you know, in the paddock, in the garages, and like you're like talking to mechanics.
Yep. It is supposed to be a practice session. It is supposed to be a practice for the weekend leading up to the Rolex 24. This used to actually happen the first weekend of January, and then the race was the final weekend of January. But ever since COVID, they moved it up to now it's consecutive weekends at the same track at the same time. So it is one of those events where it's serious enough that drivers are pushing the cars.
Yeah.
But it's also relaxed enough that mechanics are chilling, having a good time.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing to have.
It is a really cool environment.
Yes.
And we all know that you will freeze your ass clean off.
Yeah, it's in January.
I don't know how it always happens, but as soon as the sun goes down, Daytona gets frigid.
It does get colder than you would think in Florida.
So this weekend, bring a parka.
Yes.
You're going to want to bring almost the same clothes that I'm bringing to Montana.
It's going to be in the 30s, I know.
You're going to need a toque and
Mm-hmm.
some boots and all that. But let's talk about the Roar for a little bit and some of these new changes to the classes, like the GT classes, which is some of our favorites, right?
It is.
So we know GT Le Mans, so GT LM is now gone, kaputzt. Been replaced by GTD Pro and GTD. GTD stands for GT Daytona. So we got GT Daytona Pro and GT Daytona, just straight up. The GTD, the standard GTD, is supposed to be a mix of Pro-Am, whereas a GTD Pro is supposed to be just pro-rated drivers, right? Meaning if you race in GTD standard, you have to have at least one AM-rated driver, so amateur-rated driver on your lineup, getting some seat time in the car.
Yep.
Right? So in years past, you had GTLM, which was an entirely different type of car. It was in the FIA WEC, the World Endurance Championship. There is a class of car called GTE. I don't remember what the E stands for, right? But it is a different kind of car than a GT3 spec or GTD spec car, which was historically a bit faster, right? Had more aero. It was all factory teams. So factory Porsche, factory Corvette, factory Ferrari, factory BMW. So in GTD here in the States, these are mostly all privateer teams with the exception of some factory teams.
Yep.
And they've now gone to getting rid of GTLM, which was that GTE spec, and now going all GTD spec, both in Pro and Am, which has got some very interesting ramifications for how traffic is going to clog things up.
Yes.
Right.
The TLDR is all the manufacturer-based cars are now pushed into a different class with some privateer teams sprinkled in there as well.
Yeah. So back in the day, if you were in GT Daytona, GTD, and you saw a GTLM coming up on you, you knew they were actually quicker than you, like properly quicker than you.
And they were designed to be that way.
Exactly. Now, they're actually running the same damn car that you are.
And it theoretically is the same lap time.
Yeah, so it's going to pose some issues for traffic, right? So with that said, there's a few of these little kind of tidbits that I'm going to pull from an article about some of this new GT class structure. So unlike before, the Rolex 24 grid is not going to be sorted into class order if standard GTD cars finish ahead of GTD Pros in qualifying. So prior, you would have the classes kind of segregated when you're starting the grid at the Rolex 24. So you'd have, DPI, LMP2, LMP3, GTLM, GTD. Now you've got your prototypes, including DPI, and then the entire GT field, including GTD Pro and GTD. So you could have a GTD Pro get pole, and then a GTD with a Pro-Am get second.
I know there's a lot of GTs being thrown around here, but this is conglomerating everything and making it very messy.
Yeah.
Many cars at the same track at the same time.
Yeah.
With not a difference in speed. So passing becomes much harder.
Yeah. So that starting grid for the Rolex 24 next week or this coming weekend was determined by a qualifying race, which we will get into in a moment. But some more changes to the GT kind of class here. So for full course caution wave-by procedures, we'll now cover both GT classes as one. So both GT Daytona Pro and GT Daytona Pro-Am.
I don't know if I like this or not.
Yeah.
What's your take on it first?
I'm not sure. I don't have a take yet because I haven't seen it. Is kind of my thing. I have an idea, but I'm not sure. So what do you think?
There was a very clear line in the sand last year that the LM classes, the GT Le Mans classes, were much faster than the GT Daytona prototypes.
And like you said, they're designed to be that way.
The GTDs, and they're designed to be that way. And it's always been ingrained in my head to see, the Corvette passing the Lamborghinis and the Ferraris because they're not in the same class, and that's fine. When we get to the Rolex 24, watching them be stuck behind those Lamborghinis and everything, it's going to be weird. It's going to be a mental exercise to think, that's right. They're actually they're kind of racing for position.
They're racing.
If they're pros.
Kind of, yeah.
Some are racing for position and some are not, but they're on an equal playing field for the same speed and lap time, which is messy. I think that's messy.
Yeah, agreed. So, for example, there's a couple of quotes from Nick Tandy. He's one of the drivers of a Corvette. Used to be a Porsche driver, by the way. A couple of quotes in regards to these kind of wave buys and all that. So, for instance, there could be a GT Daytona Pro fight for the class lead that could be a lap up on the GTD field. But say it's the penultimate stop, and you try to take a tank of fuel under yellow, and you come out 12 GTD cars behind someone who has short filled.
Yeah.
That's big.
The strategy is going to get real weird.
Like last year, you would just go screaming past them. and then you're right back to your field, right? Your class.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. There's also some other things to think about with a couple of quotes from Bill Oberlin, one of the Turner drivers, right? So he was saying that it's also suggested that GTD drivers are now less likely to make provisions for drivers in the pro category to get passed under certain racing scenarios, which,
right.
You know what? Rightfully so. If you're an amateur driver, you're trying to prove yourself. You're trying to get a seat in a pro car,
right?
And you're trying to show these guys, look at me, boys. I can hold my own here. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to let Nick Tandy buy in his Corvette when I'm clearly half a second quicker through this corner in my Porsche, or whatever the case it might be. So here's the other quote from Bill Oberlin, which I love this part because he's saying it also from the perspective of a race fan. On the other hand, it's going to make for craziness that is good for fans. Mm-hmm. If all of a sudden there are cars getting into it that don't belong together and it makes for controversy and weird stuff, maybe that's good.
That's what I was about to say. At the end of the day, you're in an entertainment business. Mm-hmm. Your job is to entertain the people watching. The more people you can entertain, the more money you're going to make.
Yep.
So, is this IMSA doing this for entertainment purposes? Possibly. Is this going to be bad for the drivers? Are they going to be babies and talk about this? Yeah, that's their job.
Yeah. Is there even a debate that they're going to be babies and talk about this?
It's well known that that's what drivers will do.
They're racing drivers. Of course they're going to.
They're going to try to get every upper hand they can.
Yeah.
Will it make for very entertaining? Yes, it is.
It's going to be ridiculous.
And I can tell you, it was ridiculous at the qualifying race.
I wish I got a chance to watch the qualifying race. Can you give me the TLDR on the qualifying race, please?
There's one word. It's called traffic.
You don't say.
There are going to be 60 to 61 cars that start the Rolex 24. There were, I think, 58 or something that started the qualifying race.
That's a lot of cars.
A couple people planned a retirement after a stint or two just because they wanted to log some data and then put the car in the garage before people create the chaos because they thought chaos was coming in this qualifying race.
Fair.
So this is a race to set the grid for the Rolex 24. This happened this past weekend.
Can I pause you for just a second?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about the fact that they're doing a qualifying race?
Entertainment business, baby. You have a bunch of fans at the racetrack. You have a weekend off. You did have some prototypes that also did legitimate races, like proper season races there. And you have a bunch of people there to watch racing. Why not have a race?
Do you like it?
Yeah.
Okay, me too.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. That's all I had.
It's more racing on track, more action, more like.
I agree that I was such a fan when the F1 was doing those sprint races for qualifying.
Yeah. As a fan, yes. As a team owner, no way. Heck no.
Fair. Why as a team owner?
You're chewing through tires, you're chewing through the gas. There's a good chance that somebody stuffs it into the wall and you spend your entire week fixing a chassis. Like,
you're not wrong.
Yeah. But as a fan, perfect. Just give me more racing. That's what I want.
Yeah. Agreed. So sorry to interrupt you there.
So this qualifying race, remember, this is just to set the grid positions for the actual 24-hour endurance race. Okay? Here's a heads up. It doesn't matter where you start the 24-hour race, okay? It's 24 hours. You're going to be fine. We have 58 guys go into it because I think
I love that statement. It doesn't matter where you start the 24 hours because it's 24 hours long.
It does not matter. And people say that all the time. And yet we had the shenanigans we had.
Unless you're a Porsche starting directly in front of a BMW, in which case you'll get blatantly punted and then kicked out of the race. Sorry, I'm still bitter about last year.
That's fine. You can be bitter. That's fine. They deserved it. Anyway.
I'm gonna kick you under this table.
This race that ended up happening was complete chaos because of the traffic. There were a ton of GT cars that were just consistently in the way. There was a really good battle that ensued between the Acura and the Cadillac that went all the way down to the wire. I showed you right before we got on air, and you can do some Googling if you want to check it out. There was a bit of action down at the end of turn one with like a minute to go, and it ended up putting one of the Cadillacs spun out, got very close to hitting the wall. I was not a fan of seeing the amount of intensity that was out there for one grid position.
Yeah, I am and I'm not. It's mixed emotion.
Mm-hmm.
It's really mixed emotion in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. But we did get to see good racing, and we got to see action, and I think that's all they want to see, right? That's what everybody wants to see.
That's it.
So, I mean, you can see in the photos that we're showing here, I mean, it's just
a lot of freaking cars.
A lot of cars.
Oh, that was a big ugly grill. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's an M4 grill.
Yep.
No, look away.
You have the new BMW, but remember, these are all in the same lap time, which is chaotic and awesome at the same time. So
that's the best way to describe it. Chaotic and awesome at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good. Oh, go back one picture. So this is why we love GT. You've got a Ferrari, you've got a Mercedes, you've got a BMW, and you've got an Aston all lined up together. That's
lined up in a row, racing for position, which is awesome.
Yeah,
that's exactly why we love IMSA and that kind of racing. It does set up for a very hotly contested Rolex 24.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know who was on pole?
I believe it is an Acura DPI.
The number 10.
Yeah, the Wayne Taylor Racing, right?
Yes. And I believe that they have Philippe Albuquerque and Ricky Taylor.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's going to be good. Who was in the other ones? There was some contact between the number 96 Turner BMW and then the GT3 of Bill Oberlin, which I believe was a Porsche. Or no?
No. It was the BMW and a Vantage.
That's what it was, and an Aston Martin.
Yeah.
I did see some contact between a Porsche and an Aston Martin. There was much more contact out there than there should have been for a race leading up to an actual.
It's
big
also
race.
This is the first time this year these guys are allowed to race. I think they're giddy.
But it was like 2 months ago. There was Petit Le Mans.
Yeah, but it's the first thing this year.
It is like the Super Bowl, right, of IMSA.
Pretty well, yeah.
It's the Le Mans of IMSA.
Yeah.
Like they're getting the Rolex 24 watch is what they're all out there to do. A lot of risk for not much reward, though. That's my only problem with this event.
Yep.
Yes.
I agree. Did you hear anything about weird penalties, like post-race penalties?
I did not hear anything about that.
So I did read somewhere that there were some weird post-qualifying race penalties that were given out. So apparently new for this year, and I'm going to steal a blurb again. The tire usage requirements outline minimum cold and or hot pressures and or stabilized pressures, as well as negative camber values in GTD Pro and GTD, aimed to keep competitors within a safe operating window. So apparently, the number 79 and 97 WeatherTech Racing GTD Pros, so I believe that is a Porsche and a Mercedes, were both given... not just... Okay, let me back up. The 79 WeatherTech, the 97 WeatherTech, the 16 Wright Motorsports Porsche were all given post-race penalties for failure to operate within IMSA and Michelin's tire usage requirements.
That's normal.
Annoying, but normal, yes.
Yes. People are pushing the limits on the tire pressures. That it's very consistent.
But is it worth a drive-through penalty?
In the real race? No. In the race before the race? Debatably, yes, actually.
The race before the race, true. I like the way you put that.
Debatably, yes, because, okay, how will we ever test, other than the rest of the season, how will we ever test if we can cross that threshold? Now's the time to do it.
By crossing it and going, boom.
Agreed, but how do you know how far you can go, right?
That's fair.
This is the time to try it if you're a team. You have, sure. What is the penalty? Okay, you get put a couple grid spots back in a 24-hour endurance race. Whoop-de-doo.
You're right. I see what you're saying.
Take your gamble now.
Yeah, I suppose. You know who's been really big babies, though?
Who?
Corvette.
Yes, they have been.
Apparently, Corvette is, quote, not thrilled with roar pace despite BOP change.
So there's a game you play.
Corvette is the whiniest babies of BOP in the IMSA field.
Porsche does the same thing. Aston Martin does the
same thing. Yeah, but Porsche always gets screwed with BOP.
Everybody does it. You just have to play the game.
Corvette doesn't get screwed with BOP.
You have to play the game. The game is sandbagging. The game is lifting a little bit before the stripe. The game is adding a little bit of weight here and there to make the car slower in practice, so you gain an advantage in the race when they adjust the balance of performance. You know how it goes.
I do, but apparently it's now quoted that the C8R GTD, so it's the same C8R that was in GT Le Mans, but they've retrofitted it for GT Daytona action.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently they were struggling in pace in the qualifying race.
Right. So there was one interesting thing that was posted to me, and that car was designed with the regulations of GTLM in mind.
Mm-hmm.
It was not designed with the regulations of GTD in mind.
Yep.
And they're just far enough off regulations that it would actually make a difference.
Elaborate.
They're going to have a little bit more power.
Mm-hmm.
The lap times are going to be a little bit more faster.
Yeah.
They're going to have a little bit beefier brakes.
Yeah.
You're going to have beefier wing, more aerodynamics. All of those combined would make a big difference in a race car.
They would.
So when you tone them all back, it's very hard to tone them all back at first and nail it.
True.
And that's what they tried to do.
Yes. And Corvette always whines about BOP so much. And BOP, for those listening that aren't familiar, it stands for balance of performance. So where cars get deliberately slowed down or sped up to maintain a competitive field.
Mm-hmm.
Will IMSA bend the knee for a Corvette?
Yes, they will. I believe they've already given him a change before the race.
The eye roll I just gave is massive.
Yes. And will they punt a Porsche? Probably.
No, they're definitely going to punt a Porsche. I just don't want to see the same thing happen like last year's Rolex that I'm still so bitter of, that literally as soon as the green flag waves, a BMW punts the Porsche.
You can be mad. They won Sebring anyway. You're fine, buddy.
Yeah, but still. Okay.
I roll my eyes back at you.
So do you have anything else about the Roar before we move on?
I do not, but I am stoked to go to the Rolex 24. I'll try to take as much video as I can and post it up on our socials.
Yeah.
And again, if you're there, hit us up on social, and I'll gladly meet up with you, and let's have some beer.
Yeah. So Derek will be there. I will not.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy the Rolex.
Mm-hmm.
I will be sadly, but also happily missing it in Montana. So, did you happen to see, Derek, that this past Friday, there was a car meet?
Yeah, okay. Where?
It was at the Lamborghini dealer, which we've been to. You and I have been to that Lamborghini.
We have.
After hours.
We have.
And some usual suspects were there.
Uh-huh.
Right? You've got the supercars. You got the Lambos, the Ferraris. You had a number of Porsches. You had all sorts of stuff. Now, I didn't personally go, but I had a bunch of buddies that sent and posted videos and all sorts of stuff. But then there was the Mustang crowd.
Uh-oh. I think I know where this is going.
Gulp.
Uh-oh.
So, the sky's blue. This is a fact. The grass is green in most places. This is a fact. Gravity pulls things to Earth. Again, this is a fact. BMWs don't use turn signals. Again, this is a fact.
Nissan Altima drivers, terrible.
Yes, as a matter of fact, Nissan right next to me got pulled over today. Yes, fact. These are facts of life. What goes up must come down. And another fact of life is that Mustangs will go into crowds and kill crowds and go for pedestrians and go just use people as speed bumps. Is this not fact?
No, it's fact.
You know, like 100% happened.
Yeah, and it happened.
And it happened here in our poke little town of Sarasota, Florida.
Yeah.
You hear about this stuff at the huge, like, crazy mega ones in, like, Atlanta and, you know, LA and Miami. You don't think that we're going to see Mustangs being Mustangs here in pokey little Sarasota, Florida, as we watched a video of this Mustang losing its rear end as it goes straight into the crowd. Yeah. And I mean, like, literally head on into a crowd of people.
It's not a good look.
Agreed.
There's not much more to be said than, like, don't do that.
Actually, I have something to say.
Okay.
I have a debate.
Okay.
We live, and I'm going to try to tread lightly here. We live in a town where there's a lot of, how can I put this lightly? Very spoiled children.
Mm-hmm.
If you are 16, 17, 18 and getting one of your first cars, and you're maybe a little bit on the dare I say, spoiled side.
Mm-hmm.
And you say, Mommy, Daddy, I really want a Mustang for my first car. And you are Mommy or Daddy, and you give your 16, 17, or 18-year-old kid a 400 horsepower rear-wheel drive Mustang as their first car. What kind of parent are you?
Not the best.
This was a young kid. This is a kid. Your first car needs to be either front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. And you do not need a rear-wheel drive car as your first car, especially a rear-wheel drive muscle car for your first car.
Yeah.
We're car enthusiasts. Rear-wheel drive, manual transmissions, naturally aspirated engines. Yes, that is literally my lifeblood.
They're great.
Not for a first car.
No.
First car, the answer is front-wheel drive. May I introduce you to a Honda Civic?
That's what I had.
That's what everyone has.
E-brakes, they're awesome. Slide around a corner. You're unlikely to do a ton of damage. You're not going to slide into the crowd.
Yeah.
If you did that, you got big problems.
I just can't. It drives me crazy that we see, and it's not from a jealousy standpoint. It's just from like a safety standpoint of like, you're 16. No offense, you might be a jolly good driver, but you've probably never handled 400 horsepower with rear-wheel drive ever in your life.
No, and I believe that night was a little slick. It was cold.
And it was a little bit drizzly, so it was oily or greasy.
Yeah.
So you don't understand what's going to happen on cold tires, on greasy pavement.
Yep.
And you give a boot full of gas as you're leaving a car meet with a ton of people on the side filming, trying to look cool, and the inevitable is going to happen. So that's my little bit rant on first cars.
Yeah, you're not setting your kid up for success when you do that. Not by any means. And we preach it on the show. Get them a Honda Civic.
Yeah.
Real easy.
Civic, Corolla, Volkswagen Golf, something, right?
Sure.
Not a Mustang. Not a 5-liter V8 Mustang.
No.
That just is stupid.
No.
But yeah, so we had Mustangs being Mustangs here in Sarasota, Florida.
There's a reason there's the meme.
It is a fact of life. The grass is green, the sky is blue, and Mustangs will go for crowds.
Yes.
So, shall we move on?
We should. We have, let's stick on the bad news. Okay.
Okay.
So we have our car spots, but first I want to ask you, because I paid attention this week.
Did you?
What was the worst car spot that you saw?
Ooh, easy answer. It was a Tesla.
Okay.
But it wasn't just any Tesla. It was a chrome-colored Tesla. Bright silver chrome. And the wrap on it looked horrendous. It looked like someone just glued tinfoil around it.
I have seen this one. It's not good.
It's so bad. Good. Like, it looks like, honestly, a 4-year-old was like, Daddy, look, I made your car shiny, and just glued a bunch of, like, aluminum foil to the side of the car.
I have seen some Teslas with wraps that do look okay. I've seen a matte red one, which I'm sure you would debate looks like terrible, but I think it looks okay. It's not chrome, though.
But this crappy chrome with, like, wrinkles.
It takes it to a whole nother level. It's bad. I've seen that one around town.
It's not good.
Yeah. Did you see anything else that was bad?
That was the baddest.
Okay.
So nothing else worthy of badness other than just idiots, frankly. But did you see anything bad?
Yeah, let me try to one-up you.
Okay.
Was on the way here, actually. I was like, oh, this is a good one. I heard, this was going the other way. I heard it coming. And I actually didn't see it because it was turning right.
Hold on. You heard it. Was it a good noise or just a loud noise?
It was a fart cannon.
Yeah,
it was
brother.
a tin can.
Let's
coming.
go.
Yeah. So I knew immediately in my head, I'm rifling through it, right? Maybe a Civic with a big old grapefruit shooter at the end of it.
Of course.
Maybe could be like an Ultima with the crappy exhaust attached to it. I don't know. Basically, any Japanese import coming in with a bad exhaust.
Something.
Yes.
With a hacked up exhaust.
Yes. So it does come around the corner, and the first thing that I see is wing. Big wing.
Yes. We need downforce.
So I hear crap coming, and I see big wing, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be good. And it was turning a corner as I was going on a left, and there was a sign between me and the car. So all I saw was the wing. I couldn't see the car. And as it went past the sign and I finally got to see it, it was a gray Genesis.
Oh, my God. That's not good.
The wing had to be 2.5 feet tall. It was above the roof. It was fantastic.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And it sounded terrible. I think the rims were stock and plasti dipped.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
It's what you do.
That's what you do. And they had bolted the biggest wing I've ever seen on the top of that puppy. And I'm sure it gave them at least 100 more horsepower.
For my downforce.
Mm-hmm.
My downforce and my speed.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So that was a good worst spot of the week.
Yeah, it's a very good bad spot.
Yes.
Did you spot any good spots, though?
I did. So I did spot another Jeep Apocalypse.
Oh, that's a big 6x6 thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, brother.
But we have talked about this before, so we'll just glance over that one.
Okay.
I saw a McLaren 720S. I believe it was a 720S. It was in like a blue, kind of like a babyish blue, like that kind of color.
Oh, I think that one actually came here with the P1 as well. Because that was been spotted. I know which one you're talking about. I've seen pictures online. I think that's actually been spotted with the P1 cruising around town.
Yes, and it was going the other way, so it was kind of hard to spot. But I think it had kind of dark rims. I think it was black, but I couldn't really tell because it was moving so quick. And then the other car that I actually saw that I really, really liked was the 22 Audi RS e-tron GT.
Ooh.
Have you seen one of those in person?
I have. I've actually seen a few of them.
I am actually a big fan of those.
I'm going to tell you, the e-tron, that RS GT,
Yeah.
I think it's maybe tied for the best looking EV with the Taycan.
I would totally agree with that. For a moment, I didn't know what it was.
And
for
I'm going to be honest,
I was confused.
Why is it the best looking EV? Give me a reason why it looks good. Because there is a reason. There's a real reason, in my opinion, why it looks good.
Because it looks like a normal car.
That's part of it, but why does it look like a normal car?
Because the grill's black.
There.
Yes.
There.
Yes.
It has a face.
Yes.
It's not this like featureless, scary looking Lord Voldemort looking thing. Like it has a face, it has features, it has a smile, it has teeth, it has ears, it has features. It's not that like featureless, creepy thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was a huge fan of the way it looked. The one that I saw was silver. The pictures that we're looking at is a blue. I actually think the silver was even better than the blue.
I agree.
Yeah. And it was a very
This car looks. It's a really good looking car.
Yes.
I think honestly, if they would have made that the look of the A7 or the S7, that'd be great.
I completely agree. This car made me want this car, but I do.
Would you rather have that or a Tesla?
Oh.
Now that's a question.
Okay. Oh man, you really put me in a predicament here. I think I want this car more. I actually do.
Really?
The only problem is the price.
It's not cheap.
No.
It's a luxury sports EV.
Can you give me a guess?
It's 100 plus. I know that much. I know. Is
How
it
much plus?
150 plus?
Just about.
Okay, so is
It's
it
142?
Oh, okay. So actually, you know what? It is expensive, but it's not as expensive as I was honestly thinking. I was thinking between 150 to 200 grand.
But you just compared it to a Tesla.
Tesla Plaid. That's not far off of a Plaid.
I was thinking more along the lines of Model 3, but
That doesn't compete with a Model 3, though.
no?
No.
You get a Model 3 Performance that probably competes with this.
Does it, though?
I think so.
In terms of luxury as well?
Oh, no. No Tesla's competing in terms of luxury. There's no way.
That's what I'm saying. I think its biggest Tesla competitor is the Plaid for
Even that.
overall.
Maybe. Which you're coming to the same numbers around there.
That's what I'm saying.
Plaid. Yes. But if I'm thinking in pure EV and pure EV numbers, like mileage and all that stuff, the Tesla, like a performance Model 3 is what, 60 grand?
I don't know. 70 maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, like you can buy two of them for this car, basically. So I don't know if it's worth two Teslas, but it's a very clean, cool looking car.
Also keep in mind Tesla build quality versus Audi build quality.
Oh, for sure.
This is the Germans.
Yeah.
They will over-engineer the shit out of everything. Have you seen a German cup holder in a Porsche?
No.
You've never seen a cup holder in a Porsche?
No.
We need to do a segment on just German cup holders.
Okay.
They are the most magnificently engineered thing in the entire world. Yeah, we're going to do a segment on German cup holders.
All right. I'm about it. Let's do it.
But is this your spot of the week, would you say?
I would say that this is my spot of the week. Let me give you a couple more numbers, though, real quick.
Please do.
590 horsepower.
It's quick.
That's fast. With 612 pound-feet of torque, but
That's an EV.
the party trick. Yep. The curb weight though. Give a guess.
It's an EV. It's heavy. There's no such thing as a light EV. I don't know. 4,800 pounds?
Go up.
5,000 pounds?
Go up.
5,500 pounds?
It's 5,137 pounds.
It's heavy. That's probably about as heavy as a Plaid.
That's almost as heavy as the Cadillac.
It's an EV.
Yeah, it's a sedan.
But yeah, it's an EV. Could you imagine an EV Cadillac Escalade?
What would win in a drag
12,000 pounds.
Yeah, no.
It would break the roads.
I wonder. I think that this would win in the drag race hands down. But the horsepower numbers, if the V comes out in the Cadillac Escalade, right? Mm-hmm. Are what, around 600?
You're thinking power to weight ratios here.
I'm thinking power to weight ratio. It's not far off.
But how many people could you carry in this, and how many people could you carry in the Escalade?
There's a lot more dead bodies can be carried in the Escalade, I'll tell you that.
Of course, if you're a mob boss, or if you're just a school bus driver.
Mm-hmm. But you would be Would you be classier in this, though? In an Audi?
Depends where you're going. If you're going to a Greenpeace veganist or thing, then you'd be more classy in the RSE GT. But if you went to, I don't know, the Ritz, you'd be much more classy in the Cadillac Escalade V.
Okay. I can see that. So it depends on the destination.
Yes. Or if you're going to a party out in the sticks with some Busch Light, the Cadillac for sure.
Yeah, this is not going there. There's no way an EV is going there.
Did it give a range?
I didn't see one, but I will.
I'm guessing it's probably like the Taycan. 250-ish miles is my guess.
Yeah, it's
my guess.
Be around there. 238.
So I was close, yes. Yeah. Just like the Porsche Taycan. It's a sports EV.
It is. And that's also where the Tesla would properly shine, because it would come in at 400. Yeah.
Well, or close to it.
Right. So, very cool spot, though. And so far, I'm a huge fan of it. Did you spot anything?
I did. I actually spotted a lot of stuff.
Okay.
So one thing I spotted was a Ferrari F8 Tributo with a weird spec. I didn't get a picture of it. It was white with a double red stripe down the middle. I'm not a fan of it.
Really?
Not a good spec. Not a good spec. It just looked almost like homeboy graduated from a V6 Challenger and was like, I'm gonna go buy me one of these here F8 Tributos and I'm gonna stick the same stripe on it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I would not be a fan.
No, don't like it.
No.
Don't like it, not one bit, as a matter of fact. But it was exotic, so I'll spot it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Next thing I saw was very weird. It's very weird and very slow the more I dug into it.
Okay.
It is a Mitsubishi Bravo Super Exceed Mini Cab. You've never heard of it, have you?
No. You want to tell me more?
Yes.
Okay.
I would love to. And I'd love to just see if you could ever match something as slow as this.
Okay.
So this is it's a Japanese minivan hauler thing. It's like a minivan. Like a super tiny minivan.
Like one of those short front.
Like super tiny. Like
okay.
A wheelbase of 2 inches.
For those watching on YouTube, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. It's how would you describe this?
This is
it's like a mini truck without a truck. It's like a mini truck minivan.
A Honda Odyssey where they took off the front and then shortened it by a solid 5 to 6 feet.
Honey, I Shrunk the Odyssey.
Yeah. But it took the front becomes flat as opposed to the where the engine is.
I believe they were not available here, and the one I saw was right-hand drive, so it was imported from Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what the hell is that thing?
It's awesome.
It's ridiculous. It honestly looks like you could just pick it up and tip it over.
It's what's the van that was in Scooby-Doo? The Mystery Machine.
Kind of like the Mystery Machine.
Kind of like the Mystery Machine.
But way shorter.
Even smaller.
It's got such a short wheelbase that I honestly think you could probably fit its wheelbase twice in a Civic.
Yeah, it's tiny. And it's on donuts, too. They're very small tires.
It's such a small, tiny little thing. Like, it's the weirdest thing in the world.
I love these spots.
Well, yeah, I was driving by, and I actually had a student in the car. I was like, whoa! it's a, and then I got closer. I was like, it's a Mitsubishi Bravo Super Exceed!
Yes!
Wow! And we were both stopping. We both just kind of looked at each other like, what is that? So I had to go home and look at it and dig out some specs.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about it.
Are you ready for the monster that's under the hood of this thing? And it's actually not under the hood; it's under the floor because that's how you get to the engine.
Yeah. Let me ask this question: is it in cc's or is it in horsepower?
It is cubic inches.
Okay.
It is 40.2 cubic inches.
Okay.
So that is less than 0.7 of a liter.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's like a half a liter.
Less than 0.7 of a liter.
Okay. We're talking about a small engine here. This is like a lawnmower engine.
This is a lawnmower.
Yeah.
This is a lawnmower with turn signals. Do you know how much this monster of a less than 0.7 liter engine is pumping out?
It's gotta be low, dude.
It's double digits.
Oh, is it?
It's not triple digits.
Oh.
You do not get triple digit power out of this.
Oh, it's double digits. That was my worry. The 70.
Less.
Oh no. Oh no.
51 horsepower.
Oh no. Oh no.
It's so slow.
Don't worry, that's what Cadillac got in their like 69 DeVille with an 8-liter anyway.
You know, you're probably right about that. Also giving you 43 torques.
43. Oh,
I
man.
swear to God, a lawnmower is faster than this thing.
It might be.
I genuinely think a John Deere is faster than this.
It might be.
I also found some numbers in terms of a 0 to 60. Are you ready for this? This is the most staggering number.
Wait, does it have a weight? Did you find her curb weight for it?
I honestly didn't. Now I got to see if I can find one because
oh my gosh,
it is just redonkulous.
Because it's all gonna matter about the power to weight. If
it's all heavy, about power to weight, yeah,
then it's gonna be the dumbest, slowest thing ever.
It is.
If it's light, which I can't imagine that this cannot be really heavy. I bet you I could probably pick this thing up. I know that.
Oh, you know what? If we were, let's put it this way: if you had a buddy that had one of these, and you came over to a house party, and you all got really drunk one night, and you're like, you know what? Let's move Derek's car. You would just get like 3 of you guys, and you just like pick it up and like move it around the corner. Mm-hmm. So that way when he walks out, he's like, dude, where's my car? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I know that back in the day, or I've also heard that a whole bunch of people would move the smart cars, at least in Europe.
And like the old minis.
Yes. They would just move them around.
So I don't know if you found a weight.
I haven't
found a weight. Probably because they haven't even recorded the weight on this thing. But you ready for the 0 to 60 time?
Yeah.
Careful. This is a big number.
That's
not a little number.
That's not good.
This is like golf. The lower the number, the better. 0 to 60 in 25.3 seconds.
What? What?
0 to 60. Yes.
Huh?
That's the slowest thing I've ever heard.
25 seconds?
25.3 seconds, 0 to 60.
I'm pretty sure I could get a bike up to 60 faster than that.
Oh my God. That's the slowest thing in the world. In the whole world.
Huh? Does it even...
You know how long it takes to do a quarter mile? This is the funniest number of all, in my opinion, with us accustomed to newer cars. It does a quarter mile in less time than it takes to get to 60.
Yes! Yes!
Which means it's not even
at 60.
It's not even hitting 60 in a quarter mile. It does a quarter mile in 22.4 seconds.
It takes over a quarter of a mile to get up to 60 miles an hour. At full chat. Foot to the floor.
Foot hard to the floor. Go around me. This is all I got, baby. Come on. That thing's probably rattling to death.
Oh, man, dude. That's bad. That's also awesome, though.
It is a funny spot. It's not going to be my spot of the week, but it is a funny spot.
This is the most James May car I've ever seen.
James May, our man in Japan, a series that was on Amazon Prime. Mm-hmm. This is what he should have had.
This is amazing.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's slow. It's odd. It's rare. It's just freaking weird.
That's awesome.
And I love it.
I love those spots.
All right, so let's move on to my next spot, which I am a big fan of, but it is a Porsche GT2 RS. So, honestly, the track monster, the Nürburgring killer, the most amazing thing in the world. But that is not my spot of the week, even me being the Porsche nerd that I am. My spot of the week goes to something that is kind of cool, actually.
Kind of cool?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a vintage pickup truck.
Okay. I like vintage pickups.
It's kind of cool. What I saw was I was out and about, and I stopped at a light right next to what looked like beautifully kept, perfectly restored Chevrolet Apache 31 Series pickup.
What?
So this was made from 1955 to 1960, so it's probably like a 58 to 59 or something like that. And it just looked so perfectly restored. It was beautiful. It had it had kind of these wood bedside extenders. It had a spare tire that looked perfect. Like everything looked like period correct and perfect.
Was it an old gentleman driving?
It was. And I looked over and I gave him a thumbs up and he gave me a thumbs up. Yeah, because we stopped at a light right next to each other and I kind of looked over at him and I was like, I can dig it. That's cool. And he looked over at me and he kind of gave me the, I appreciate you appreciating me.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yes.
And we both had that. That's car guys. That's what you do, right?
Yep.
But that is going to be my spot of the week.
That's awesome.
It was such a cool. And then I thought, how much of a pain in the ass would it be if you accidentally took a rock chip to the windscreen?
Yeah.
It's a curved windscreen.
Yeah.
Like, that is not something you just go down to, the local auto glass place and be like, oh, I need a new windshield, please. So you ready for some specs on this? Because I didn't know a damn thing about this.
Nope.
It is marginally faster than the Mitsubishi.
Oh, boy.
But also, this is from 1955 to 1960, and the Mitsubishi was from like 1997.
Much more reasonable.
Oh, my God. Right?
Yes.
So this came with either a 235 cubic inch V6 called, you ready for the name of their V6? They actually named it.
Yep.
Called the Thriftmaster 6.
That's awesome.
That's your budget truck, right?
You're
thrifty. You want a truck?
Okay, yeah.
And you want to not, it's your base model, right?
Yeah.
Can dig it. A Thriftmaster 6, which came with 116 horsepower. But you know what? That's actually
it's in the triple digits.
It is triple. It's it is double and change of the Mitsubishi.
And many years before the Mitsubishi.
Almost 50 years before the Mitsubishi.
Holy moly. How did Mitsubishi get so little? What the heck?
It's the smallest thing in the world.
Okay.
Or you could option this with a 283 cubic inch V8 called, and I love that they named their engines.
Yeah.
I love that they named their engines. They named the V8 that was in this the Trademaster.
Fantastic.
And you got up to 160 horsepower in that.
That's
so
awesome.
You got 116 in your budget and in your Thriftmaster and 160 in your Trademaster.
Why doesn't Honda name their engines?
I love that.
Dude.
You know what? Yeah. I love it. Yeah.
More manufacturers should do that. These kind of old trucks you usually see out on a Sunday.
This was a Sunday evening.
Great weather.
It was great weather.
Yeah, and they're just riding around town. And I'm sure that they don't take these out on the daily. Probably not, because you'd put too many miles on them.
No.
But they cherish these trucks. Like the old gentlemen who have these cherish these things.
It looked so great, too, and I was like, you know what? I love that.
He probably had one in his childhood.
I think he probably did, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then grew up and decided, time to go back and get that car.
Honestly, it was really cool. And
That's
it was
awesome.
that cool moment of just the recognition of like, I see what you've done.
Yep.
And I appreciate that you kept that alive. Like,
do you think I'm going to have a Honda Civic when I'm like...
You know what? Knowing you
60,
actually might.
70 years old.
You actually might. Let me go back and get me a 1.8 liter 5-speed Civic. I got my arthritic knee. Let's see if I can still use this. Yeah. And they're going to be like, what is up with this crazy old man? But the funny thing about this Apache is they were between 5,000 to 5,600 pounds.
What?
With 116 horsepower.
What?
Pure steel.
Just built out of iron?
It was actually, I believe, I didn't see any numbers, but I bet you it was actually quicker than that Mitsubishi.
Probably.
But it did struggle to get to 55. We accelerated out of the light, and we were a little bit further out east, and I'm like, it's taking us a while to get to. I'm just kind of like looking around, going, this feller's not going pretty fast right now. So I'm sure he was probably 85, 90% throttle, and hitting 49. Yeah, brother, you go. But I just loved it. It's my spot of the week. My spot of the week goes to this perfectly restored Apache. Just so cool.
That's cool. Personality. I think like just oozes personality.
Yep.
Yeah.
I 100%.
Yeah, that is awesome. All right, so let's wrap it up with the I wish they would have.
All right, let's do it.
I will go because I believe you've changed your I wish they
have. I had an epiphany.
So I want to have a way. I'm not sure the best way to implement this, but you get behind a crappy driver, right? And you know they're a crappy driver because of the things we talked about. And maybe it was the last episode or maybe the episode prior, but there's a variety of things that cause you could go past the line, you could be swerving between lanes, you could just be speeding in an aggressive driver.
All of the number of ways, yeah.
Many ways to be a bad driver. But I wish that there was like a community-driven like database or system or something where you could tag someone's license plate or somehow like have like a QR code or something where you could tag them as a bad driver. And maybe Waze or Google Maps or something could notify you.
Look out for this lunatic in the Honda Civic.
Be careful. There are a significant number of bad drivers on your route.
Be careful. There are a significant number of Nissan Altimas near you.
It seems like a doable thing. Now the question becomes, how do you like incorporate this into a punishment, right? If I want it to be more along the lines of the community drives and determines who is a bad driver.
Like how we could report a cop on Waze.
Similar to that. Like if enough people, and there's statistical analysis behind this, if they decide that you're a bad driver and you meet the threshold, like what happens? Do you get a point on your license? Do you have to pay a fine? Do you have to go take a driving class with yourself? What should the punishment be? I don't know. But it seems like it's a very doable thing to create a database that says this person thought that they were a bad driver. And it could even be anonymous. Like this license plate was tagged as a bad driver on this day. That's all you need to know. That's it.
That's fair.
And if there was that much information, in theory, you could figure out who the bad drivers were and then try to at least educate them on being better or penalize them for being bad. I don't know. But that's what I want. I wish that we could tag people as bad drivers as a community.
I like this and I hate this at the same time.
Why?
Because I like this because I want people to know how much of a muppet they are.
Yep.
But I hate this because I don't want any government agency tracking any other information.
Yeah, that's where it starts to get touchy. It would have to be anonymous and it would have to be community driven.
I don't like governments telling me, but how do they enforce that?
I don't know. That's the question.
Yeah.
Like Waze does it. You don't know who submitted it. They do.
Yeah, but it doesn't go to a government agency and then a government 3-letter agency person knocks on your door and says, knock, knock, knock. I hear you cut off a Toyota Corolla on your way to work yesterday morning.
It does seem a little like I'm watching you. There's a little bit of privacy concern there.
So
I agree.
I yes and no, agree and disagree all at the same time.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts.
We'll leave it at that.
Fair.
What do you have?
So my I wish they would have has just changed. Because I had this epiphany. I had a light bulb and went bing. My I wish they would have is that I wish we would name our engines again.
I don't see why they
don't. I wish we had the Thriftmaster 6 and the Trademaster V8.
Because instead all they are right now is like a 1.8 liter flat 4 or like
I wish the Kia Telluride had the Rocky Mountain V6.
It doesn't even have to have the V6 in it. Like they didn't even
the Rocky Mountain 6, even better.
Yeah, if you want to put a number.
Yeah, something, right? Like that.
And the crazier the name, the better, I think, because it would be all for marketing purposes.
Yeah, you put a Power Stroke, a Ford Power Stroke, call it the Towmaster.
Now the question is, would that create confusion among the people who are not car enthusiasts? And I wonder if that's why engines have stopped doing that. If they wanted clarity that this is a 1.8 liter, and you can go Google that if you want to figure out what the size of the displacement of the engine is, and it is a 6-cylinder, so you now know the number of circles that are going up and down in the engine. Or could you call it some random marketing term?
I see what you're saying.
Yes.
I see what you're saying. But my wish would have is I wish we would name our engines again.
More character, the better.
I love it. So, do you have anything else for episode, what are we now, 48? Good God.
Yep, 48. The only thing is, if you're at the Rolex 24, hit us up on social media and gladly give you a beer.
Yeah, Derek will be your bartender.
For sure.
So that's going to wrap us up for episode 48. Thank you so much for watching on YouTube and listening on audio on Apple, Spotify, or Chrome, or anywhere wherever you listen. If you're on YouTube, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and leave us a thumbs up and drop a comment for us. That'd be fantastic. We'd love to interact with you there. Or if you're on audio only, please make sure you leave us a 5-star rating and drop a review or a comment on wherever you listen. Also, make sure you send us your I wish they would have's and any other auto-related news articles that you may or may not see and want us to talk about. And again, if you're at the Rolex this weekend, hit us up and Derek will meet up with you and he'll sign your forehead or something. I don't know.
Let's chat about cars.
Yeah, let's do it. So again, thank you so much. We're so grateful for you all. Have a good one.
Peace.